Testing 1, 2. A recent Washington Post analysis reveals that AI chatbots like ChatGPT are primarily used for creative writing and role playing, accounting for 21% of the conversations. Younger users utilize chatbots for schoolwork, making up 18%, while researchers and queries follow closely at 17%. Surprisingly, work related usage is up 15% and programming at 7%, and image generation at 6%. Additionally, over 7% of interactions involve sexual content. That and many, many more stories tonight. You got a lot of things going on the desktop here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing a whole bunch of stuff differently. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but that and many, many more stories tonight. You're listening to Geek News Central, episode 1758, coming to you this Monday, August 5th. I'm your host, Todd Cochran. A big shout out to our primary sponsor at GoDaddy.com. Grab their deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all our awesome listeners, you're the real MVPs. Contribute your time, talent, or treasure at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a GNC insider. Yes, we are live and lit with the modern podcast apps from podcastapps.com. You can join the show live right now from some of those modern podcast apps at podcastapps.com. And of course, join our Value for Value movement by downloading and again using one of these new apps. You can dive into our hub. This is real simple to do. All you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com. Geeknewscentral.com. Don't forget to check out our partner shows. They're all linked up on the website as well. Get on board. Again, get on board and don't forget to follow or subscribe via your favorite modern podcast app. And of course, and I have no idea. Too many buttons moving today. That is for sure. So if you we'll be back in the regular studio in about a week. But if you have feedback, email at geeknews@gmail.com. Catch me on X at Geek News or find me on Facebook. And a massive salute to GoDaddy, the longest running continuous sponsor of podcasts where savings begin. Savings begin here. And all you got to do is get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy and lock in those savings. Again, we got great promo codes for you, whether it be a brand new domain name for $11.99 or a brand new hosting account for $6.99 a month. Again, $6.99 a month economy of hosting includes a free domain, professional email, and an SSL certificate for the first year. $12.99 a month to manage WordPress hosting. Again, includes a free domain, professional email, and an SSL certificate for the first year. You can get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans as well. That's a 1-month free trial. We want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here. Get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Definitely check out all the deals. And we definitely appreciate your ongoing support of GoDaddy. That's for sure. So, what is happening here tonight is I'm not using a roadcaster at all. I'm using a new tool, and I've had this for a while. And this is I have two of them. but this is, called Pod see if I can get it in the screen here without the it's called Pod Mobile. Well, yeah, Pod Mobile, and it's from Audio Sigma. And what I have got going on is it's pretty cool, and I'm just pushing the edge of everything I can push right now from one computer, kind of doing it old school. So let me explain a little bit about this device. It's a two-channel device with I've got this mic plugged into this device. I'm monitoring through a port here. I have a monitor out that's going to my machine that's streaming audio. I'm using StreamYard in conjunction at the same time. I'm recording with Adobe Audition on my desktop. Have not done this for years. Now, there's a level of risk of recording with Adobe Audition on your computer while you're doing everything else. But what happened was is I've got the studio build in process and I've got everything set up, all the gear set up over there, and I did not want to completely switch stuff up just to do the show tonight. So hopefully everything is up and running. And what I wanted to do real quick was if the audio's coming to a great level, if it sounds decent, and if you're watching live, just make a comment whether or not the audio sounds good or not. We definitely appreciate just saying I've got a good audio stream. It looks to me like the audio is being picked up on Facebook, no problem. I just saw the closed caption going on. At the same time, we're live streaming on YouTube. That appears to be working as well. And we're restreaming to all of our normal locations. And meanwhile, StreamYard is basically kind of in the middle of everything here. So it appears to me that resources are good. I'm on my iMac. So again, we're streaming one camera, get the audio input from the Pod mobile device from Audio Sigma, and I'll share a link to that device in the show notes. I'm recording to the audio to Adobe Audition. The video is being recorded locally by StreamYard, and separate computers doing the audio stream so that we're live and lit. So, yeah, I think it's all working, which is good. Trial by fire here. I just need to learn how to push the buttons and make sure everything's up and running before we get going. But we definitely appreciate all of you that have become insiders. Thank you so much. No new reports of any insider donations, although we will have the streaming stats report for the next show. We'll talk about that when we're ready to rock and roll on the next podcast. But let me just talk a little bit. I posted a picture on Facebook that basically showed about 30 hours worth of work of building the new studio. And what I'm finding out is based upon the initial test, extreme glare coming off the pine backdrop. And it really can't be fixed. Doesn't matter which side, how high the lights are, the angles, and it's just not likely going to happen in a way that I'm going to be happy with. So I have a plan B. Materials are here. For those of you that may have seen pictures of the previous studio, you may have remembered some of I call them bricks, but they're not bricks. But anyway, we're going to have a great backdrop in the new studio. And I think that'll solve all of it and we'll get it dialed in. But I'm thinking based upon everything that's going on with work and this extra stuff I got to do, and the mess is about 30% better in here than what it was. But this week, I've got to change this table out to my standing desk, and then get that organized, and then get the studio dialed in, and we will be officially kind of ready to rock and roll. But really, from Friday at noon until late Sunday last night was really involved in setting everything up. The only thing that's a little sketchy is I bought trellis system for the lights, and it sags just a little bit in the middle. I don't like sagging when there's lights and stuff on there, and it could all come crashing down. But I've safety wired it so that it can't come apart. For those of you that are aviation folks, you'll know what I mean by safety wired. It's held together, and it's really going to have something really really bad happen for it to break. And in case if that is probably an earthquake, and there's more damage than anything else. But anyway, we're here. We're live. We're lit. Yes, we're lit. We're on live video streaming. We're live audio streaming. When I logged into the streamer account today, I was like, "Oh, I need to go in there and kind of update things because there's some old media playing when I'm not playing." But anyway, I've chatted quite a bit. Thank you for being here. And again, can't watch the comments coming into the stream at all, largely just because not enough screen real estate. But it just shows you what can be done now without a studio. This little device, this audio segment device, I'm just in love with this thing. It's got all kinds of great features. I've got it flipped up over side. There's an equalizer, there's a denoiser, um, there is recording mode setups, gain control, mixer control, the whole nine yards. Output, listening volume. Again, lots of cool little things. This is great. This could be a whole system without having to travel with a roadcaster. The only advantage the roadcaster gives me now is onboard recording. That's it. The amplifiers in this thing is superior to the amplifiers that are in the roadcaster by far. So anyway, enough technical stuff. Thanks for everyone being here. We'll go ahead and get into the tech news stack. And first story up tonight is about a new report that shows the truth of how people actually use AI chatbots. And this recent analysis by the Washington Post shows how AI chatbots are actually being used by everyday people. Companies like OpenAI and Microsoft are pushing ChatGPT, of course, but this new report talks about 21% of people use it for creative writing and role play. 18% use it for homework, search and other inquiries, 17%, work and business, 15, coding, 7%, image generation, 6%, health and advice, 5%, greetings, translation, English help, all under 5%. But it's shown that students are using this a lot for homework, and 18% are using it to aid in schoolwork. And now, not shown in the Washington Post chart is that over 7% of all the conversations were sexual in nature. This included both child prohibited role playing and requests for AI generated sexual images. So that just gives you a little bit of an insight into how ChatGPT is being used today. Today was a horrible day for stocks. I basically had head down all day working, and I was not watching the news, but the Magnificent Seven shed $800 billion in value today. Um, Apple, Alphabet, Amazon each dropped more than 4%. NVIDIA tumbled 7%. And Microsoft and Meta platforms fell 3% as worries about a potential U.S. recession. And I think we're already in a recession. And this was all triggered because of the jobs data. I see what's going on in my business. I can see where money is being spent. And let me tell you, it's tight as a doornail right now. Very, 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 very tight. Um, and it's very, very, it's an interesting time. And people say, yeah, we're not in recession. Well, I think we already are, just based on information I see and the cost of everything and how people have scaled back. Some people haven't. Some people are full on rock and roll, spending money like it's the party's never going to end. I think it's highly dangerous at this point, to be frank with you. Schwab and other retail brokerage users reported outages as the global stock sell-off surged. More than 14,000 users reported an outage at Schwab at 9:50 a.m. in New York, according to the website Down Detector. So probably people were trying to get rid of stocks. They were trying to do mass sell off, and when your stock brokerage system is down and you can't do it, you just probably want to throw stuff at the wall. I can't imagine. I don't day trade. I don't, I set for the long term on anything I have from an investment standpoint. So for me, it's one of those things where nothing of an impact. That's for sure. This is a not a good point. Apple Intelligence thinks phishing emails are priority messages. As reported by Android Authority, Apple Intelligence is currently struggling to weed out phishing and spam emails while prioritizing emails in its users' inbox. The filtering is part of iOS 18.1's new mail experience, which uses Apple Intelligence to scan your inbox and float the most important emails to the top of the list. I've never used Apple Mail ever. I'm a hardcore, Gmail user across the board. So just be aware if you open the beta and you're playing with it, you might get stuff surfaced that you should not be clicking on, to say the least. Apple, they're finally sending checks. They're sending checks for its bad MacBook keyboards. People are finally receiving checks. As payments go out, Apple's closing the book on an issue with stuck or otherwise unusable keys that plagued owners on Mac laptops between 2015 and 2019. I've got one right over here that's got a keyboard issue, that was within that time frame. I did not get it repaired. I've used a third party keyboard with it. Matter of fact, it probably needs to go at some point and have a battery replacement done because it's giving me a warning. So if the battery starts to swell, it'll destroy the MacBook. So I'm keeping a close eye on it, and I use it in the studio system. So maybe some point here before we get relaunched, I'll send that off to have the battery redone. But anyway, the checks are the result of Apple's $50 million settlement of a class action lawsuit. People filed during the claims window starting late last year are eligible for payments of $50, $125, or $395, depending how extensive frequent repairs were. A court in June ordered to begin the payouts. And so you should start to see that if you were involved in that particular ordeal. At the same time, it's an interesting move by the folks here at Microsoft. Every Microsoft employee is now being judged on their security work. This is interesting that they are actually putting this as a benchmark. Kathleen Hogan, Microsoft Chief People Officer, has outlined what the company expects of employees in an internal memo. Everyone at Microsoft will have security as a core priority. When faced with a trade off, the answer is clear and simple: security above all else. A lack of security focus for Microsoft employees could impact promotions, merit based salary increases, and bonuses. Delivering impact for the security core priority will be a key input for managers in determining impact and recommending rewards. Microsoft is telling employees an internal Microsoft backed on its new policy. Microsoft's now placed security as one of its key priorities along with diversity and inclusion. Both are now required to be part of performance conversations, internally called a connect, for every employee alongside priorities that agreed upon between employees and their managers. It goes beyond compliance as they're asking employees to prioritize security in all work that they do and hold themselves accountable by capturing their impact for it whenever they complete a connect, reads the Microsoft FAQ. Very interesting move for sure. Well, I didn't know that video game actors actually had their own union, but apparently video game actors are officially on strike. Actors have picked up the picket signs, but this time it's members of the Screen Actors Guild. They're striking against the video game industry. After negotiating for a new contract governing media and video games fell through, the guild been striking on July 26, preventing over 160,000 SAG after members from taking new video game projects and impending games already in development, from the biggest publishers to the smallest indie studios. Of course, negotiations broke down to disagreements over work protections around AI, and that should not be a surprise whatsoever as this becomes a bigger sticking point on union negotiations. Of course, you got comments today. You can send a direct email to me, geeknews@gmail.com, or send me something over at x at geeknews. Of course, we encourage you to become a Geek News Central insider at geeknewscentral.com/insider. OpenAI has released ChatGPT detector that could catch cheating students. So again, OpenAI's unreleased ChatGPT detector could, if they release it, catch cheating students. The method of watermarking its own AI generated content apparently works, according to OpenAI, but it also can be apparently easily duped. So they're showing that they show this off, but they have yet to release it. So this is going to be a challenge for them to get this out and make it actually 100% accurate, considering that people's livelihoods and like accusations of plagiarism and a whole bunch of stuff could be impacted if you use a tool and it gets a false positive. Safari wants to fix your broken web browsing experience with its new distraction control feature. So basically, Apple thinks they know best when it comes to what should be surfaced when you visit a website. Safari will now let you select elements on a web page, like a pop-up to enroll your phone number for a discount code. Hide it and remember that you want it hidden. Just like Reader, Apple's aiming to make this new feature as easy as possible. We start by navigating to the smart search bar, clicking and selecting hide distracting items, and you can select items on a web page you want to hide. Once you hide it, the element will float away, turning invisible or into some magic Safari star dust. So, in other words, you can come in and click elements on my website you don't like. For that purpose alone, I don't know if I necessarily like it at all. Can I block up? Can I block the begs for money? Could I do that? Interesting. Well, a gamification gets drivers to put down their phones. And this is a study that was done largely by an insurance agency. Progressive basically has made a game of basically ensuring you're not using your phone. In other words, the app is tracking you while you're driving. And if you use your phone, you get points taken away. The study recruited 1,653 customers already enrolled in its progressive snapshot program, which involves the use of a smartphone app that detects phone use while driving. Before the trial, the participants all averaged around 6.4 minutes per hour of handheld use while driving. Progressive says its safest customers have handheld usage less than a minute per hour while driving. And the folks are divided into 5 test groups, and they had different levels of intervention and so forth. So, it's an interesting article, but they said everyone's phone usage dropped, dropped dramatically, even after the test resolved. So, link will be up in show notes for you all to check it out. But we all know using our phones while driving is very dangerous. And I'll be honest with you, my car's not too bad. It allows me to do a lot of things hands free. But, sometimes it still requires me to pick up the phone, which I shouldn't. But now that I'm not driving back and forth to work or anything, less driving overall for me. Apple's going to reportedly launch an iPhone Air in 2025. So again, this is all kinds of rumors that are happening about what's next in iPhone ecosystem. Last episode it was a different type of a phone. So anyway, link will be up show notes for you to review on that. Not surprisingly, NASA's got themselves a huge, huge headache. NASA is likely to significantly delay the launch of Crew 9 due to Starliner issues. And, this is, you still have the Starliner at the International Space Station. So, of course, but the space agency has not said anything publicly. NASA should announce the decision this week. Officials are contemplating move the Crew 9 mission from its current date of August 18th to September 24th. Now, that's really not that big of a slip. That's 5 weeks. Nominally, this Crew Dragon mission will carry NASA astronauts Zena Cardman, SpaceX Cameron Nick Hague, and Stephanie Wilson, mission spouses, as well as Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gabanova for a 6-month journey However, NASA has been considering alternatives to crew lineup, possibly launching with 2 astronauts instead of 4 due to this ongoing issues about the viability of Starliner to safely return astronauts currently stuck up there, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. As of late last week, NASA has still not decided whether the Starliner vehicle, which is built and operated by Boeing, should be used to fly its 2 members home. Now, not only that, there's another issue that's going on with freight that we'll cover here in a few minutes. Turkey is blocking access to popular VPNs after it banned Instagram, largely because everyone that they banned from they blocked Instagram, so everyone started using VPNs to get access to Instagram. So currently, NordVPN, Surfshock, Proton VPN, Private Internet Access, and CyberGhost, HideMe, and IPVanish have been banned and are being blocked by Turkey at this point. And again, I don't know what the dispute is, but it seems that Turkey's not happy with Instagram. Facebook ads for a fake AI image editor were just an excuse to affect your PC with malware. Attackers have been abusing the popular AI image editing tools to trick users into installing applications that mimic legitimate tools that are loaded with malware. This campaign uses hijacked Facebook accounts to push the application on social media using paid advertising to spread the malware. Attackers trick Facebook pages into surrendering their credentials with phishing messages that take users to fake account protection pages, which then steal their password and they take over your account. It's not that complicated in how they're doing it, but it shows the process and how you PC users are being affected. Galaxy AI will come to select 2024 Galaxy A phones. So basically, their source over at sammobile.com says that Samsung's latest innovation, Galaxy AI, will land on Galaxy A devices, namely the A35 and the A55. I guess there's some caveats to that. Not all features will be released on the A35. So we'll see what happens. I guess they just don't have enough compute power. Now, I haven't got too much details on this yet. And I need to look into this more. I don't know if it sounds like it's a Starlink issue, but a freighter bound for the International Space Station suffers an engine abort. And this is bad. NASA's latest cargo mission has encountered problems. The Falcon 9 stage landed first. They had a no problem takeoff. The first stage landed, and the uncrewed Cygnus freighter, named for Francis D. Dick Scobie, a NASA astronaut who perished in a Challenger accident, was inserted into orbit. However, things began to go a little awry. According to NASA, the spacecraft missed its first burn, called the Targeted Altitude Burn, or TB1, due to a late entry to burn sequencing. Burn was rescheduled 50 minutes later, but aborted the maneuver shortly after the engine ignited due to a slightly low initial pressure state. NASA said in a statement on the matter, there's no indication the engine itself has any problems, suggests that this issue might be in some sensors or somewhere within the software responsible for controlling the burn. So the mission, which is deliver 8,200 pounds of crew supplies, equipment, and science experiments, had already been delayed from August 3rd due to weather. Spacecraft is currently at a safe altitude with its solar arrays deployed. The original plan for the spacecraft to be captured by ISS and installed on Unity module on Tuesday. So I guess this is not a SpaceX issue. Has something to do with the Cygnus freighter. So bad news for that. So it looks like SpaceX did their job. It was the freighter that has got the issue. Uh, so hopefully they get those supplies up there. They need them because of the the number of crew members that are extended stay. According to Tech Radar, Windows 11 promised improved AI and gaming performance thanks to NPU and GPU boost in the 24H2 update. So these important revisions of a driver display will usher in important benefits in terms of speeding up NPUs, which is called neural processing units, and GPUs. This new Windows Display Driver model, version 3.2, will come with the 24H2 update, and a support document from Microsoft, spotted by Windows latest, outlines the various drivers related improvements that it will implement. So it's going to help your computer have more performance and use the chipsets within it more effectively. Meanwhile, a popular Office app may have exposed details of thousands of workers. A data leak has reportedly affected around 900 companies, including major firms such as Dell, Capital One, and Verizon. The third-party app, called Simply, Simpli, was discovered to have a public available web directory, which exposed as many as 10,000 employee credentials from the affected firms. So this is just, again, more stuff left open. It's just going to happen. Wall Street will support heavy AI spending as long as everything else is going great. This is a report. As big tech giants reported results this earnings season, Wall Street didn't mind heavy AI spending, but with one key caveat. Everything else in the company's business had to be humming along. The big winner of this shift was Meta, with its CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, fully embracing his post-metaverse gold chain follow-up, showing investors won't automatically shy away from massive investment with an uncertain future. While we do not intend to provide any quantitative guidance for 2025 until the fourth quarter, we expect infrastructure costs will be a significant driver. This was reported on the last show. But apparently, investors are pretty happy being able to spend this money at this time. Interesting article around The Verge. Priceline and Kayak chief Glenn Fogel wants you to yell at AI chatbots, not humans. The first time that I find out that I'm talking to an AI chatbot on the phone, I think I'm going to disconnect and maybe consider doing business somewhere else. So this was in the latest episode of Decoder. Link will be up in the show notes if you're interested in reviewing this. There's a sneaky snake keylogger. It's slithering into Windows inboxes to steal sensitive secrets. An alert this month, Fortnite's FortiGuard Labs warned of an uptick in snake key logger infections. Once running on someone's PC, this malware records the victim's keystroke as they log into things, fishes usernames and passwords out of their files, and takes screenshots to snoop on people, and then sends all that sensitive information to fraudster. By zero-day detection, Fortnite means it's in the context software that was acting suspiciously, though was not yet in its database. So a signature detective malware was added to Fortnite FortiGuard's detection engine on July 31st. So if you're using malware detection, that'll probably catch it. Just keep your definitions updated, all right? If you've been on Macs lately, I haven't. You might have noticed the more personalized rows of content across your entire homepage. That's because the streaming service, formerly known as HBO Max, rolled out a new whole page optimization system in the United States to get viewers to keep coming back. And Warner Brothers says it's working. And if any of you had this experience, love to know. Send me your feedback. If you're a Mac person that likes to keep up with the Joneses, an M4 MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, and iMac are reportedly on track for 2024 launch, but other Macs will have to wait. So this is not a good sign. It seems that the wait from M4 Macs may not drag on too much longer. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman previously said expect these refreshes between 2024 and early 2025. And he seems to have settled more firmly on the former, possibly adding seasoning as this is with any leak. So again, the M3 chips have only been out, for a year or so. So, if they're making this update this quick, it's very, very surprising. So, uh, he informs us you should expect MacBook Air, Mac Pro, Mac Studio to get the M4 chip, but not until 2025. Ford could be working on a car headlight system that follows the driver's eyes. Lights mapped to a driver's eye line could be on the horizon. A patent which Ford filed earlier last year has been recently published by USPTO, involves a headlight system that tracks the driver's gaze and adjusts the beam's direction accordingly. The car maker says by tracking the driver's vision, its powerful headlamps could help illuminate potential obstacles and vulnerable road users that perhaps aren't in the direct line of the headline beam. According to Auto 123, photos provides a combined eye and head tracking system with the vehicle's already installed object detection tech, which usually relies on video feeds and radar to pick up obstacles. And that thing is really, really aggressive. I was coming up to a corner. There was a car in front of me that had its turn signal on. I was already applying brake, but boy, oh boy, the thing went nuts. And I'm just like, yes, I know the car's there. I'm not too close. Chill out. But I guess if I'd have been looking somewhere else, it probably would have been, it still would have helped me in the long run. Chinese hackers are delivering malware via ISP level DNS poisoning. The operation was conducted by an APT tracked to Storm Bamboo, Evasive Panda, and Storm Cloud. According to the cybersecurity firm, which stated the investigation, the attacks in mid 2023, the attackers compromised the internet provider's system and performed DNS poisoning in order to deliver Windows and Mac OS and malware through insecure automatic software update mechanisms. So basically, they hacked the DNS and rerouted you to what you would have thought would have been the right site, but was not. In the voting area, millions of voter documents leaked online. Didn't just the government says we're not going to have any issue? The voter documents of 4.6 million Americans have been leaked online after being stolen from 13 non-password protected databases. The information contained within the base include voter records, ballots, and election-related records. They include personal identifiable information, social security numbers, driver's license, and voter ID numbers. These are all were out of 13 counties in Illinois. So, yep, if you live in Illinois, you could be part of this breach. CrowdStrike, well, they're unhappy. Well, they should not complain, but they're unhappy about Delta's litigation threat, claims airline refused free on-site help. CrowdStrike says it's highly disappointed and rejects the claim made by Delta and its exhibited negligence. I think they did. That's my personal opinion. According to a letter seen by the register sent to David Bowie's partner law firm, Delta hired to investigate the airline's legal options. The Falcon vendor re-edited its apology to Delta and a wider customers. It then went on to remind Boies, the lawyer, known for work as special counsel during the 1990s U.S. antitrust trial, that it had been proactive in reaching out to Delta, offering support to the airline within hours. Well, what are you going to do? You had to go to every terminal. Did they send people to help Delta update their terminals? This was not something where you can uh, remotely update this. These had to be these computers had to be touched by hand. Meanwhile, those of you that suffer with ADHD, there's an app that's been launched. It's called a Lifeline to Treatment Calls for Healthcare Reforms. COG's ADHD developers called for the British government to prepare from ADHD help. A COG ADHD combines access to specialists in the UK with in-app treatment tools. The system is the brainchild of Dom Longford, who compounded COG ADHD after enduring his own struggle with the conditions. If you have any members of your family that has ADHD, you know how challenging it can be. But anyway, this app, trying to get the NHS in the UK to get on board to support it. That's going to bring me to the end of the show. Very, very quick one today. And of course, we hope that you'll continue to support our sponsor, GoDaddy, at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. And of course, you can become a GNC insider at geeknesscentral.com/insider. Feedback on the show today can be sent to geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, and of course, at Geek News on Twitter. Anyway, so the new studio build will continue, and I'm pretty excited about what the ultimate view is going to be. I've got more space. The camera angles are a little wider. It comes with its own challenges as well. But the majority, I would say, wired wise, we are at the 90% level. There was just a few cables for some reason I can't find. I think I ordered 3 cables from Amazon. I've got one stretching across here that I kind of jury rigged today. But other than that, we're we're really, really close. The sad thing about losing the original studio, I had a lot of art on the walls, and there's really no place to put it. So what I'm thinking of doing is having a place where I can rotate, where I can show off some of my art in the new background. Maybe put up a new piece every episode or something to that effect. Again, it depends on most of the stuff is in glass, so I'd have to make sure the reflections weren't impacting. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Also, um, definitely going to need a shelf. I have just too much stuff on the initial table that I have, which is a cabinet, to be able to put there, and it's too busy. So some shelves are going to be put up as well. So that I'll be looking to get that installed here over the next week, along with this new backdrop. But everything else, the side panels and everything else I plan for are great. Haven't found anything that got broke per se. And even though we packed out the studio and the 1,500 whatever square feet office I had like mad dogs, I had been to the storage unit about a half dozen times because it was like one thing I couldn't find. I couldn't find the mounts for the cameras. Couldn't find them, and they're just Manfrotto mounts, but they're very expensive. They're like $70 each, and I knew I had 5 of them, 2 in a box still, and 3 that were in use. I couldn't, and I'm like, "Those should have been in the boxes that came here." So I went to the storage unit and started opening up boxes and found a couple things that I thought, "I'll need that," and I threw it in the car. Yeah, the next really big thing to come up here is gonna be my desk. I'm replacing the L-shaped desk that I have, with my standing desk. Maybe later this week, we'll get that up here. It is heavy, 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 heavy. 3 or 4-person job to get it, up the stairs. It would took all that, like, 2 of us could do to get it loaded in the back of a pickup truck. So, anyway, that's where we're at. We'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully, not to a crazy start like today's show was. They had everything screwed up. But definitely appreciate you being here, and thanks for watching. Uh, anyway, everyone take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geek Central podcast. Everyone take care.